Welcome back to the Too Many Records store. I'm Matt, and this is another video in the series of records that I have taken home from the store because I just couldn't resist it. I try to leave so much good stuff for people that come into the store, and I really do a good job of it. I gotta pat myself on the back because there's a lot that comes through that I'm like, I want it, but I don't always take it. I do take some though, and these records I'm going to show you today are ones that I took home and I wanted to tell you about them and tell you why. So if you like this video, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn the bell on so you don't miss out on any notifications for videos that I put out in the future. But hopefully this turns you on to a couple albums you're not familiar with. Let's get started. And as always, if you have a part of your record collection or all your collection that you're trying to get rid of in bulk, you want to help out the Too Many Records store, shoot me an email. Link is below. If you're in the US, let me figure out how to get the records from you to me. I'll figure it out. And I appreciate anyone that wants to help the store succeed. So that being said, let's go into some of these. First up, we have Funkadelic's Standing on the Verge of Getting It On. This is one of the best Funkadelic records, bar none. Amazing album. This is a Four Men with Beards pressing, which is unfortunate, but also not as bad as I thought it would be. Four Men with Beards gets a lot of flack, and they do put out a lot of bad reissues. The Funkadelic ones I've heard are not bad, they're just not incredibly impressive. They're a little flat, they're lacking the dynamics of an original press, but still a great listen and a good placeholder copy until an original comes along. This album blows me away because I listened to Good Thoughts, Bad Thoughts at the end of the album, and there was a guitar line that just like pierced me through my heart. And I was like, where do I know this from? And then it hit me. Blue Sky Black Death Noir samples it on one of the songs. So I laughed and I texted Ian and I was like, dude, I just realized that that's a sample from Funkadelic, and it was very funny. But really, really good record. Nice packaging too on this one. Nice gatefold, really thick jacket. Like I said, good placeholder until you can get a better one. This came in a trade-in. This is the Olympians self-titled. It is a Daptone record, so it's an extremely good, laid-back, funky, soulful record. Instrumental. I really love this front to back. This is the only thing that the Olympians have ever done, but if you like instrumental funk stuff, definitely give this a listen. I put this on a whim just because I like the cover, and I was floored. Had to take it home. Speaking of funk, we got some more with Black Heat, No Time to Burn. We got two Black Heat albums in a collection. The other one, the self-titled, is actually a lot rarer. This one is still not easy to find, but not quite as rare, but I liked it more musically. So I ended up selling the other one, the self-titled, and I decided to keep this one. Really good, classic funk album. A band that also missed me growing up completely is Avenged Sevenfold. The only song I ever knew, which is actually from this album, is The Beast and the Harlot, which I knew, I think, from like Guitar Hero. I listened to this album front to back, and I loved it. The kind of metalcore breakdowns, the really good vocals, extremely melodic and catchy songs. I thought this album was excellent, and it's actually going to send me down a rabbit hole listening to more Avenged Sevenfold. So if there are albums that you want to recommend me, please do so in the comments. Really like this record. It's the original press, which is interesting because the repress apparently doesn't sound very good. If you go on Discogs and look at the comments, people say that this pressing, this mastering, 2005 is the one to go for. I actually ended up getting two of these 2005s in two different collections over the past couple months. So one is here, one is on the wall. So you have a chance to get one if you're local. Got this as a trade-in. This is a Def Leppard Hysteria. And I laughed when I saw this hype sticker because it said 12 songs, 63 minutes, but it's on one disc. At first I laughed because I was like, that is significantly more than should go on any disc time-wise. Running a record label, I know that you're not supposed to put over 24 minutes on a side at most. So I was like, how are they doing 63 on one? So it was a little quiet because you have to crank it up when there's that much music on one side. It kind of lowers the overall volume. But I was blown away at how dynamic it sounded. And then I went on Discogs and looked at this copy and all the notes that people left. And everybody said that this is like an audiophile version, and they're also mystified as to why it sounds so good despite having to turn it up. I don't understand the science behind it. If someone wants to explain why this record sounds so good and dynamic despite having such a massive amount of data on each side, I would love to hear why, but this is a great record. I grew up on Def Leppard, and if I'm gonna own one copy, it's gonna be this enigma of a version. Minnie Riperton's Perfect Angel. We got a few of these come through the store in varying conditions. This was a really clean early copy that I decided to bring home. Beautiful vocals. Minnie Riperton is killer, and this is probably, in my opinion, from what I've heard, her best record. So yeah, just, you know her voice. Just what she could do with it is gymnastics vocally. Speaking of other amazing voices, we got the late, great Charles Bradley, may he rest in peace. This is Changes, which not only has the theme song of Big Mouth, it also has the theme song of Barry. which was really funny for me to discover both of them on the album. I knew Changes, obviously, but I didn't realize that the Barry theme was on here as well. Charles Bradley is incredible, really, really soulful, just a great album front to back, and this came in a collection. I had to grab it. Oh, look at the man. What a legend. What a true legend. Also coming in the collection is Hugh Maskela, which I don't think I'm pronouncing right. African musician, just incredible kind of Afrobeat, funky, energetic, really good musicianship that I've never heard before. I don't know his career at all, but when I threw this on, like 3 songs in, I was like, yeah, this is coming home with me. And it's also pretty hard to find from what I can tell. So gonna definitely dive into his stuff more, also taking recommendations for other records that he's done that's worth listening to. This one excited me. This, as well as a few other metal ones I'm gonna get to later in this haul, came in a random collection someone just brought in one night, and this is an original press with the original Tower record sticker of $7.99 of Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, which is my second favorite, or sometimes favorite depending on the day, Iron Maiden record. Really excited to have a first press of it. I would say it plays VG+, a little noisy at times, but nothing distracting from the incredible music, and it contains my favorite Iron Maiden song, Can I Play With Madness. So good. I love this Eddie too. This is, I think, my favorite Eddie. More funk. I'm really fleshing out the funk collection, and this is Lonnie Liston Smith's Loveland. Amazing grooves on this one. If you don't know Lonnie Liston Smith's career, just kind of go anywhere in the 70s and go like this and point and just pick one. You're probably gonna love it. Really great record front to back, and I couldn't resist taking it home. Another great vocal one, this is Valerie Simpson's self-titled, really good kind of soulful R&B, amazing vocals, and the single from this, Silly Wasn't I, is worth the price of admission, as someone said on Discogs. I'm inclined to agree. An absolutely stellar track, surrounded by a bunch of other killer cuts. This is a front to back great listen, and apparently also not easy to come across. So now that we got one, I think I had to take it home, and it's still in shrink, which is cool. One of my best acquisitions of the entire store, owning thus far, is a first press of Funkadelic's self-titled debut record. It is near mint. We had a bunch of people in the store the other night, and I threw it on, and I was gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna listen, and if it really sounds that good, I'm gonna keep it. And we listened to one track, and everyone in the store was just like, it was like some friends, and it was also some regulars. We were all like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. And then we had a repress. So we were like, all right, let's just make sure we're not crazy. Let's put the repress on, and we A/B tested it, and the repress sounded so hollow in comparison. There were like, it was so much darker, and it really felt flat compared to the original press. It was like a night and day difference that every single person in the room agreed on and was pretty adamant about their opinion, even though not everybody was an audiophile. Some people in the room were very casual fans, some people were really intense fans. So I think it's proof that Funkadelic first pressings are absolutely worth finding. The fact that I got this in a collection, I was gonna put it out, but I love Funkadelic, and I don't know if I'll ever come across a copy this clean again. I had to take it. How about this Venom, Welcome to Hell, same collection as the Seventh Son. A little noisy, I would say low VG plus on this one, but that's okay because the music's pretty lo-fi and chaotic anyway. Really good early metal, kind of inspired a lot of black metal, I think, moving forward from it. But this is just really crunchy, good music, and I'm stoked to own this early pressing of it. Same collection, Black Sabbath's Heaven and Hell. This is one of Dio's albums and one of the most appreciated Dio albums from his run with the band. I had never heard it before, and what surprised me about this record is that it actually sounded almost like arena rock at times. Like there were elements of it that I could relate to like Journey, which I thought was weird for Black Sabbath, obviously a little heavier, but I thought this would be kind of like darker, like the early Ozzy stuff, not being familiar with the Dio era. And it really surprised me in a good way. Not that that wouldn't have been good. I just thought this was a really accessible and interesting listen. And then this one right here, Metal Church, same collection. I can't believe I took so many things from this, but as I'm starting my metal journey, there are so many holes in my collection that the store is helping fill. This is I think, first press of Metal Church's first record. Amazing metal record, great vocals that are kind of King Diamond-esque at times, amazing guitar work, and the end of it is a cover of Highway Star, which is better than the original, and it, Deep Purple's great, but Highway Star is just the version Metal Church does. It's been stuck in my head, their version, for weeks now. So good. Here's a twofer thanks to my friends over at Mississippi Records, a record store right down the street. That's a pretty iconic store in Portland. This is 2 volumes of Essie Rogi, or Rogi, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he's an African musician. Really nice kind of folky, poppy guitar work, and they actually pressed this on their label, Mississippi Records. I heard it in the store, and they were playing a song from here that I was like, I know this guitar part. And then I was like, wait a minute, Vampire Weekend sampled this guitar on Father of the Bride. Either that or they completely ripped it off. So I went home and looked it up, and yeah, it was a sample, which is really cool of Ezra. I know he's always been a fan of Afrobeat stuff, even back to the original Vampire Weekend record, definitely inspired by like Graceland, and Graceland was inspired by, you know, a lot of African music. So it all kind of trickles down. But this guy's phenomenal, and both of these volumes are definitely worth your time if you like kind of chilled out African music. This one was a huge surprise. This is the self-titled by August Wolf. It is on August Wolf Productions, so a private press, never had a repress as far as I know, and this just was something that I threw on just out of curiosity. I've never heard of August Wolf, and Matt and I were both listening to it, and we were just in awe of how beautiful it was. Really, really pretty singer-songwriter, folky stuff, definitely doing something different, very warm musically, and it really kind of put a smile on our faces, and I thought it was a really killer record that most people have probably never heard of. So if you take one thing away from this video, go check out August Wolf. I think you might like it. Here's a Misfits comp I ended up taking home. I've had a couple of Misfits records in, a couple other comps, and this comp is the one I wanted. I thought it sounded really nice, and it had all the songs I really wanted from Misfits on one comp. When I get more and more into them, I'll probably opt to get the full records, but this is gonna hold me over for a minute. Another Four Men with Beards win for this video. This got traded in. This is Tell Mama by Etta James. This is one of the records that VMP is currently reissuing in their Cadet box set, and this is an absolutely incredible vocal album. I mean, Etta James's voice is iconic for many reasons, but this album is so good, and I love the color of the record. It's like this really cool kind of like smoky purple, but it's Four Men with Beards, and I thought it was gonna sound like Butt, but it didn't. It sounded really, really good, so I had to take this home as well. The Soul Man himself, Curtis Mayfield's Superfly. I, of course, know a couple tracks from this, but I had never listened to the entire thing front to back, which is one of my greatest shames that I'm embarrassed to be saying on camera for you right now. But I got an early pressing in with the really cool kind of flap that opens up. And I listened to it in the store, and it was so good. I listened to it immediately again right away, and then again the next day. And that's a mark of a record that I gotta take home. What a terrific soundtrack that doubles as an amazing album on its own. Superfly, wow. It sounds great. I gotta look for the most audiophile version of this. I don't know if it's the MoFi, or I think there was a Kevin Gray cut recently, but for now, this will do. Someone traded me in this recent repress of Dio. It's a different cover for Holy Diver, because in the original cover, this guy's in the water, and in this cover, he is not. But it's on this really kind of cool, black, smoky record, and I believe it's also a remaster of some kind. Like, some of the music is mixed a little differently, and I don't have a huge attachment to the original Holy Diver, so I don't know if this is better or not. All I know is I don't own any Dio, and this album rocks. This was a huge surprise that walked into my door. There was this extremely kind older woman that came into the store one day randomly. She lived in Brazil when she was younger, and she had some LPs. Some of them were from Brazil, some of them were just kind of music she got while there that was American music, but amongst a lot of the stuff that was stuff I've never heard of, there was a little bit of cumbia in there that I never heard of that didn't seem that desirable, a couple random miscellaneous MPB stuff, but this record, the first press of this was in there, and Baden Powell is an amazing jazz guitarist, like up there for me with, like, you know, Gabor Szabo and some of the best jazz guitarists out there, and this record is the first press of I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, but you can see it on the screen. And I put it on, and it sounded VG plus, and it was so unique and interesting in the way that he composed all of these guitar works. I had to take it. You guys know I love Brazilian music, and I can't believe the first press of this just wandered into the store. But yeah, very, very cool. This was a really interesting find as well. I got this in a collection. This is Pop Will Eat Itself. This is the day, this is the hour, this is this. Pop Will Eat Itself is a really interesting 80s group that is still making music today, I believe. But I don't think he's still in it, but at one point Clint Mansell was a member of this band. Clint Mansell being one of the most famous composers of all time, known for things like The Fountain and other amazing soundtracks that you probably own if you're into Mondo. That being said, this is such an interesting record full of sound collage. It's almost like a proto-Avalanches, all over the place sonically, really catchy, aggressive, fun, plunderphonic-y, and, you know, before it was really a thing. So I was blown away by this, and this is another band that I want to kind of dive through their catalog. I listened to their first record, and I didn't love it as much as this, but I think I'll probably like some of the other middle stuff. So that's another conquest for me to take. Finally, we're ending with 2 Leonard Cohen records. We have this pressing of I'm Your Man, which is a repress, and this pressing of Various Positions. I'm Your Man is a really underrated record, kind of a darker sound for Leonard Cohen in a really, really good way. Beautiful record, and I don't own it, so I was excited that it came in. And this Various Positions is iconic because it has Hallelujah on it, as well as one of my favorite songs that he's ever done, Dance Me to the End of Love. And this is a 4 Men with Beards pressing too, so I went in very skeptically, and I listened to it, and I thought it sounded really rich and dynamic. So do I have an original press to compare it to? No. But was it really good for my ears? Yeah. What I'm trying to say with this video is that 4 Men with Beards is probably not as bad as we all think it is, and you should give every record a chance before just reading slander on the internet. So that's maybe the biggest takeaway of this whole video. Those are the records that I've taken recently since the last edition, and I'll probably do another one of these in a couple months. So make sure you leave a comment below with thoughts on these records I just shared with you. I'd love to talk with you about them. And when I've asked you for recommendations, I mean it. Recommend me stuff based on what I just told you I love. I always love taking recommendations, listening whenever I get the chance. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. There's obviously more coming soon. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll catch you guys later. Take it easy.